This session is about the ordering options that are available when running the suggested order calculation program. From the main menu, access menu selection B, 2. Your clerk code is required upon entry to this program. Clerks with security that is below manager level will be able to run saved libraries, but will not be able to modify them or to create new ones. Select a saved library or press Enter for the default. The first screen that displays is always the ordering options screen. This is the screen that establishes how the new order will be generated. That is, which locations are being ordered for and what calculation method should be used. The box at the top of the screen identifies which store or stores the order is for. If ordering is centrally controlled, if orders are placed with the same vendor at the same time using the same parameters for different locations, then it makes sense to set up one job that will create separate orders for multiple locations. To do this, enter 4 asterisks in the Create for Stores field. The cursor will move to the first field under the Compare option. You need to enter a field from the GEOG record as a basis for the selection. You can use the field LOC to enter a specific store ID or store IDs, or you can use a code field to select, for example, all stores in a particular region. If you don't know the field designators from GEOG, use the on-screen help by clicking on the yellow Help button. Now you will see a list of all of the available fields from the geography record with the description of each one. You can click on the one that you want, or you can enter the line number selection code of the field that you want at the bottom of the screen. I clicked on and selected LOC because I'm going to enter the specific store IDs of the stores that I want. The operation will always be equal to, and under the heading value, enter the ID of one of the stores. The logical operator will always be OR, and then I can do the same thing again to find the second store. OR, setting it up this way will generate 3 separate orders for the 3 specified store locations. Or you can just build a job that creates an order for a single location. You do this by entering the store ID of the location you want at the top of the box. The first field in the next box establishes the ordering method. You can click on the field to see all of the options in the drop-down. They are single order point, min-max order points, formula, both order point and formula, both min-max and formula. Let's go through these methods one by one. In this session, we will discuss the rules and differences between these methods. The specifics of how to use these ordering options will be discussed in another session. The single order point option compares a reorder level value to a quantity value. If the quantity value is below the reorder level value, then the order quantity will be the difference between the two. The rule is, if the quantity falls below the order level, then order up to that same order level. The min-max order points option compares a minimum value to a quantity value. If the quantity value is below the minimum value, then the order quantity will be the difference between the quantity value and the maximum value. This rule is, if the quantity falls below the minimum, then order up to the maximum. The formula option calculates a minimum and maximum order level on the fly. As in the reorder level calculation program, inventory sales history is the key to using the formula method of ordering. On another screen, you specify which inventory sales unit fields are to be considered, and you define how many weeks those sales periods represent. You also enter both the minimum and maximum number of weeks on hand that you want to keep your stock. The program crunches the numbers, and using basically the same formula as the reorder level calculation program, determines a minimum and maximum stocking quantity. If the quantity value is below the calculated minimum, then the order quantity will be the difference between the quantity value and the newly calculated maximum value. This rule is, if the quantity falls below the calculated minimum, then order up to the calculated maximum. The both order point and formula and both min-max and formula options apply both either the single order point or min-max order point calculation and the formula calculation to generate two suggested order quantities. The actual order quantity used will be whichever amount is greater. On the printed worksheet or purchase order, an asterisk next to the order quantity indicates those parts where the result of the order point calculation is the one that was used. The next field in the box turns pipeline ordering on and off. This process can be used to calculate order quantities for a warehouse or hub location that include enough stock to fill the needs of any satellite stores, in addition to their own needs. This is a way to generate a consolidated order for multiple locations. All of the stock is ordered for the main location. When the product is received, transfers are generated to move the stock to the other locations based on need. There is a separate session on this topic that explains setup and implementation of pipeline ordering. The next field in the box says Create Purchase Order. If this field is set to Y, an open PO will be generated, and the cursor will stop at the next field, Purchase Order Number. You can enter any numeric value, or you can leave this field at 0 to use a system-generated purchase order number. On single store systems, this number will come from Y5, page F. I'm going to escape out of here and take you to that screen. Y5, page F. On a multi-store system, this number should be store-specific. So there is a setting on this same screen which says, get the purchase order number from the GEOG or store-specific record. If this field is set to yes, then the next available number will be retrieved from the geography record, T4J3. And there you see a field from which we can pull the next available purchase order number. If the field to create a purchase order is set to N or no, a worksheet will be created, and the cursor will stop at the field to save the worksheet. If this field is set to Y, the worksheet will be saved and will be available for review, reprinting, and converting to an open purchase order. If this field is set to N, then the worksheet will not be saved. If this field is set to Y to save the worksheet, the cursor will stop at the field to replace the existing worksheet. Because each worksheet is saved by the code of the supplier, there can only be one worksheet for each supplier in the system at any one time. But this setting is only important if the order create job is being run through the V1 batch. If it is being run in the foreground, and if a worksheet for the supplier being used already exists, the user will be prompted on the screen for what to do, whether to add to the existing worksheet or replace it. But if the job is running in the background, there can be no user intervention. The program needs to know what to do up front, in case a worksheet for the same supplier already exists. If that situation occurs, an N in this field will trigger the logic to add any new items generated by this job to the existing worksheet. A Y in this field will replace the existing worksheet with the newly generated one. There is one exception to this. If the existing worksheet contains special order items, that is, items that were added to the worksheet from the point of sale special order process, those items will not be removed. They will still be on the newly created worksheet. Next, the cursor will stop at the purchase order type field. There is no logic tied to this field. It is totally free form. Whatever is entered is saved in the PO header, but there is no program in SBC that uses this information. The last field in the box turns auto transfer of overstock on and off. This feature provides the option to source product being ordered from the vendor for one location from other in-system locations that have overstock. There is a separate session on this topic that explains setup and implementation. The name of that session is Stock Balancing. This concludes the session on PO ordering options. If you have any questions or comments, please contact SBC Customer Support. Thanks, and have a great day.